Hello, everyone in the virtual world. We are streaming live from the Dock Bookshop platform. Join, welcome. The link is live, so please join. We'll give you a second to gather. We have an exciting show today. I am here with Jean Duffy, and this is a part of our Road to the Cup, the FIFA World Cup 2026, and I have put together a literary series so everybody can get ready for the excitement expected to have for the World Cup that is going to cross over three countries: Canada, Mexico, and right here where I'm at in the United States of America. So the Dock Bookshop team has put together a literary series because we want everybody to enjoy the World Cup when it arrives in Dallas Fort Worth area. And to do that, we feel you have to be engaged in everything about soccer. So we created a literary series that kicked off actually a couple of weeks ago with Nathan Nimper. He wrote the book Dallas Till I Cry. So we got an exciting episode today. Gather, send a link out to your friends. Tell them to join Doc Live TV today, right now. Thank you. So I'm going to give you guys a chance. I'm going to give you guys more chance to get in here and ask any questions you want. I think this is fun around the holiday seasons to do a show on the Soccer Grannies, and understanding that South Africa is one of the 48 teams that will appear in the World Cup. They are a part of Group A, and if you know who's in that group, you guys need to let me know ASAP. Because I did not get a chance to look it up, but because I want us to just be in a total no when it comes to the World Cup. This is different for the Doc Bookshop, but for our customers, we are just ready to pioneer that territory, that terrain, which is the soccer world. So I have Jean Duffy. Jean, are you there? Jean, you look like you. Oh my gosh! Let me add you to the stage again.
Yeah. Am I there now? Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like you froze. Did you add another link? I'm gonna kick this other one. It looked like you have two people right here.
Okay. Yeah. It told me to restart, so I went back out and in, but
Let me kick you
there we go.
off.
I
Okay,
see.
I kicked you off. Guys, we were in the age of COVID where everybody was doing lives and streaming, but now we had to, as we got to get comfortable again of doing live. So it's like you're in this hybrid environment of live and in person. So I kind of forget how I do it, and as everybody else, we forget and all this kind of stuff. But be patient with us, but because we are going to bring you in a very, very engaging conversation. So let me introduce my guest this afternoon. It's noon my time. It's 1 o'clock her time in Boston, and it's about 7 o'clock, 7:10 over in South Africa because we invited folks from South Africa to join this live. And Jean, if you want to send stuff notifications out to people as well, you can go ahead and do so too.
Okay.
While I read your bio, and they can just join in on doclive.tv, and I sent you the link, so you should have the
Yes.
link. You just
Yes.
invite, and I am going to share with our audience this amazing bio. Jean is the debut author of Soccer Grannies, the South African women who inspired the world. She is grateful that we are going to just work on this project, just to look at this project. Her nonfiction writing has been published in the Boston Globe, Concord Monitor, Lexington Observer, PBX Next Avenue, WBUR, and other sites. Jean still frequents the soccer field in Lexington, Massachusetts. Wow. Where her team, and she's going to have to clarify this, the Expressas, has been playing for some 20 years and counting. Jean is an amazing writer. I'm happy she took on this project, Soccer Grannies. And so we're going to dive more into her story why she selected the Soccer Grannies, and just, Jean, just give us more of your background.
Yeah, sure. I was an engineer by formal training, so this writing a book was a new thing for me. But I was motivated by the story of the Soccer Grannies to give it a try.
Mm.
And I'm delighted to be here. I think it's wonderful you've put together this series to get us excited for this next World Cup.
What can I ask you? Which field in engineering were you in?
Electrical engineering, although I did mostly software, computer engineering, and then managing of software engineers and researchers.
Oh, my son is in electrical.
Oh,
So I don't know what led me to, maybe it's that magnetic thing that I had. I said, okay, I wonder. So my son is actually picking up the electrical trade right now.
good, good.
So amazing that we have you on there. And I see some folks are trying to join in, and I got some links and questions um, about people that are still trying to join in. So yeah, it looks like they're coming in. Hi, everyone. Go ahead and subscribe, join. And we have just some housekeeping issues. We have our chat if you want to add in chat. Hey, Ashton. Good morning. How are you guys? Yes, we're doing well. So if you want to drop in the chat, you can, great to do so. We're going to jump in our conversation. And if you know anything about what's going on in South Africa as it relates to the preparedness of the World Cup, just happy, we'll be happy if you put that in there. I personally had the opportunity to go to Draw Day. We had a watch party in Texas, and actually it was occurring actually at the Kennedy Center in DC. So there was watch parties like all over the country, and at that watch party I got this beautiful scarf. I got so much hair. Let me see if I can take my scarf off, because I'm going to show off my scarf, you guys. I'm going to show off my scarf. Let me show off my scarf and keep my hair pretty at the same time. So it's, I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's going to be here. It's probably backwards. I don't know, but guys can probably get the feel. It's so long, Jean. It's so long, but I got it from my faves, which is FC Dallas. So that is our soccer team, and so on the back of it, it says for the club, for the country. Oh, so I can't hardly, but it got the. Does it have the colors? Can you see the colors?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, that's my show and tell moment.
Well, if I can have a moment, I'm wearing the shirt from the Grannies International Football Tournament that was held this year. So
Oh,
show the colors too.
I'm going to have to order now. If I order me one, how is it going to? How soon is it going to come to me? Because I want to wear it like one time while I'm doing this series or in my,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah. We can work something out.
okay. We're going to work some. It's just that. Oh, she saw the watch party on the news. So okay, yes, I'm gonna. If anybody knows how I can get that shirt, please put in the chat because I want one of those shirts. Okay. Or are they making it anymore? Is it just for that conference?
I think it was for this conference, but I might be
Oh,
able to get you one. Yeah.
okay. Okay, well, let's jump right into the conversation. So, I just gotta know, what drew you to the story of the South African grannies, and when did you realize it needed to become a book? What drew you into that?
So I'd love to take a moment and share the background on the players on the field, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I started playing soccer in my mid 40s. I was standing on the sidelines in my town outside Boston watching my daughters play. And I'd never played a team sport before. And I thought, that looks like fun. I'm already a runner. Surely I can run and kick a soccer ball. Fortunately, I found a group of women just starting up, and in no time I was hooked. I found it was such a fun way to exercise. I forgot about my to do list for that hour, and now, 20 years later, those women are among some of my best friends. I didn't know at the time, but a few years after I started playing, a group of women in rural South Africa took to the playing field. But these women were even older than my team, 40 to 80 years old.
No way. Stop.
Yes way. And they faced resistance when they started playing. The town folk told them, "You belong at home watching the grandchildren. What are you doing?" But for all the same reasons I loved the game, they did too. Their physical health, emotional well-being improved. The team became a critical new support group, helping each other through life's rocky periods, and they were having fun. And in 2010, our lives would intersect. That was when South Africa was hosting the FIFA World Cup, the first time on African soil. And this team of grandmothers running around playing soccer in their skirts was like the perfect human interest story associated with the World Cup. So they
Wait,
found
let me stop you right there. So okay, in 2010, that's when South Africa hosted the World Cup, correct?
right, right.
And these grandmothers were actually on the field, or they were was it a celebration, or just dive a little bit deep into that story of the grandmothers engaging in the World Cup.
So they weren't in the World Cup, but they were playing in their province on the
Right,
field.
right. Of
And
course,
so
they
they
were.
were like a human interest story that, as reporters were looking for stories to highlight, to introduce people to the heart of South Africa, all of a sudden they found this international spotlight shining on them. So their story came to light. Reporters were flocking to their province to get reports about them. And one of those video news reports was emailed to my soccer team in the US. And I watched it and I was just amazed, mesmerized. I knew our lives were different, but I could also tell they loved the same things about the game that I did. And I was inspired. Maybe, our team too could play into our 80s. So I scoured the internet for more stories about them and got in contact with the team founder, Becca Nitsanwisi. She's a cancer survivor and a radio talk show host. And a very special friendship transpired over the coming months and years, now years. And we would meet and play the beautiful game together on both sides of the Atlantic. And that experience was so magical for me meeting them that I decided I wanted to share their story with the world.
Gee, Miss Duffy, you know what? And my mind morphed into like I'm going through these stages, but at the same time, I morphed into like, what is going to be the story in Texas? What are there going to be the discoveries in Texas? If you have these teams that everybody collided on, or because they would come to the World Cup, and so they're going to go to the different match locations, and then they come upon this team of grannies on the field adjacent to it, and they see that story, and you got to imagine what is going to be the Texas story? What is going to be the United States story? What is going to be the discoveries? I mean, I'm just forward thinking, just kind of pioneer. How do we make sure we get our stories? And it gives me range to just go see what is going to be exciting about what we're going to bring to the table. The same way in the discovery that was made of Soccer Grannies that just across the Atlantic inspired you. What is going to be our stories to inspire the world? So I just want to hold it there before. Yeah, so that's
Yeah, it is.
I have this book in my mind right already. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is a magical moment that all the world is watching and joining together and cheering on their respective teams or other teams. And yeah, you never know what that bringing together of all these people from around the world is going to reveal, right?
Right. So it just brings to light that there has to be some level of preparedness. So I didn't forget about Becca. I know I want to try to dive into who is Becca. You said she's organizing, because can you give us more about Becca and organizing the Soccer Grannies?
Yep. So she came down with cancer when she was 35, and she was in the hospital. And she had always been a humanitarian, helping the impoverished in her country. She gathered food and clothing and distributed it. She built houses for people who didn't have houses. and just always does everything from the love of her heart. And she's a wonderful listener, and she just cares about people. So she'd won many awards, including one from the president of the country. She's known as Mama Becca and Mother Teresa, the Mother Teresa of Limpopo. So when she came down with cancer and she was at the hospital, she looked around her and saw these older women who were suffering from heart diseases and diabetes and had various mobility issues. And
Mhm.
instead of focusing on her own suffering, she was, as Becca, looking around her and seeing all these women. And she vowed to start an exercise program for them to improve their health. And one day, you know, they were out doing their exercises in the town, walking, and some boys were kicking a soccer ball on the field, and they kicked the ball in front of the grannies, and one of the grannies reared back and booted the ball, and
Oh my God.
they all laughed. And Becca said, "Come, come," she said to the boys, "show these grannies how to kick the ball." So they spent a half hour, you know, running and kicking the ball, and after that they said, "Mama Becca, that was fun. We want to do this again." And that's how they decided that soccer was going to be their exercise.
Wow, that is amazing. I upon reading the story, I told my mother, I said, we can do this. And my mom looked at me, really? I don't think so. And she said, besides, you're not a granny. I said, I don't know if it's more of an age thing or to be an actual granny. So I don't think it was, reading, I don't think that was one of the criteria. I think it was more of an age thing versus if you.
Yeah, yeah, they're just affectionately called the soccer grannies. I don't think they're all necessarily grandmothers, but yeah.
So when I approach my friends, because we do, some of us, a lot of us fit into that age bracket. So I don't want to hear you guys say, well, I'm not a granny, because we too can do those athletic things. I know the American thing to do right now is to go to the gym or even do softball. But I was like, wow, can we do soccer? We can do soccer. I'm actually on the soccer field with my nephew. My nephew plays soccer. He's been teaching me how to dribble the ball and how to move the balls, and trying to teach me some of the different terms in soccer. Why don't you introduce us some of those terms that you have experience in soccer? Just share some of those terms with us. I said dribbling the ball, but what other type of soccer techniques are
Oh,
out there?
yeah, basic things. I mean, there's a give and go, you know, you pass the ball and then you run up to be in a place where you can receive it, right?
Hmm. So I had my little guys. I gave my little thing called dribbling, and she gave give and go. And if you know any other techniques that maybe some of the grannies are doing, just put it in the chat for us. Now back to the book and the inspiration behind the book. How did your initial interaction with the grannies reshape your understanding of aging, resilience, and community?
Well, these grannies are of an age that they lived through the almost 50 years of apartheid and the poverty and unemployment that ensued. They lived through the AIDS epidemic that took the lives of many young adults. And these grandmothers, you know, whether their adult kids went off to find work, or the adult kids died of AIDS, they suddenly found themselves with 10 or 12 grandchildren to feed and clothe and care for. And they're at an age where you might hope to be relaxing and being cared for yourself, but instead they were taking on these incredible responsibilities, holding the family together, and they're truly pillars in their community. But despite this hardships that they've faced, they exude this contagious joy for life, whether they're singing and dancing or chasing the soccer ball. And the more I learned about South Africa and the political and societal pressures that have impacted the lives of these women, the more compelled I felt to share their stories. You know, they're really inspiring examples of active aging and resilience against all life throws at us, and the importance of community.
Just looking at your journey, reading your journey, It's so much the world can learn from these mothers. It's so much the world can learn from the organization and the compassion and understanding how to live life
Right.
to its fullest. And I want to just applaud Becca. And I don't know if she's still in South Africa, or
She is. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I just want to applaud them. Just listening to them, I'm a visual person when I read. So I'm like reading the landscape. I'm reading into all of that, into the environment, into the elements that shape the world. So thank you for giving a lot of that backstory and the coming of age in terms of coming out of apartheid. And you always wondered in the 1990, 1994, when there was really that struggle existed, how did, what are the people's lives like today? And so I thank you for giving us that backstory. That was huge to share, Jean. What surprised you most during the time observing or researching their lives? What surprised you most? It sounds like you kind of touched on that.
Mm, yeah. Well, I guess I would say that just a few months before the book was due to the publisher, the Becca arranged for some in-depth interviews with the grannies, and these 6 or 7 graciously shared their life stories with me. And by that point, I had done research, so I understood what you were saying, about what life could be like for women of that age, that their fathers probably had to leave their family to find work in cities when they were young. Many of them probably didn't have the opportunity to go to formal schooling. Um, and I had learned about the Sangha culture and marriage traditions. So as I got each of these stories, I kind of understood the context behind them. And each one just made me cry to read about the hardships they faced. And yet it's so impressive, their resilience and positive, strong spirit. So those chapters of the book that share their life stories are really my favorite part. I guess how I was moved and inspired by the stories of these women really is what surprised me the most.
And I'll be putting links for people to order the books, because I do want to have a post conversation regarding the books once we have our audience got it. Once you receive the chance to read the book, I do want to have a post conversation with readers and
Mm,
just see how it touched them emotionally, how it inspired them, how can they shape their own stories when we hit the World Cup in the United States. So, like I said, the road to the World Cup is a journey, and is the opportunity just to embrace some of these stories that are shaped around the sport of soccer. And so,
hmm
I want to put that link to the book. I know it's already being in all my email e-blasts, but in case somebody haven't had a chance to order the book and they're just now checking into the live, I'm going to go ahead and put that link here so you guys can have it, the link to the book, and in the chat. And I know folks are on Facebook, so once I put it here in the YouTube chat, it'll hit Facebook too as well. And if you have questions out there on Facebook, I see some questions coming in on Facebook. I'll respond to those, or I'll ask those questions. Let me go back to the comments and put this book in the chat. Okay, back to our question. Now, have you seen? I hate to dive deep into the stories, but the grannies, how do they share some of their families or their families' experience, and how have their families embraced their new love or their new activities?
well, I know when they first started playing, which was like 2006, 2007 or something, some of the families were very concerned that the grandmothers were going to get hurt, that these older women were going to get hurt. And so Becca actually visited some of their homes and talked to them, that they were going to be playing a more gentle game of soccer, and that, I know myself, a winning day out on the field is nobody gets hurt. We just have fun and exercise, right? So, and I think, I mean, you can't not get hurt ever, but I think their injuries have not been too many. So,
Jean, you answered my question without me having to really ask the question. Like, I didn't want to ask, well, is somebody going to get hurt? So I shaped it. So how have the families responded to that? And you kind of, jumped right in there and said, you know what? Everybody was concerned that they could get hurt, which is what I was concerned. But, so you went right where I was going.
and some of the grandkids would tell them, "Oh, grandma, you can't play soccer. You're too old," which is what we would expect to hear too, right? And some of them are very proud of their grandmothers, for taking up this sport, and for the opportunity to travel at times or to other countries to play the sport. That's pretty exciting.
What more do you want to share with the community of why they should pick up this book and read it? I know why I would pick up the book, in terms of just hearing the stories and understanding what other people are going through and how they deal with some certain issues and how they organize. But what other themes would you share from the book?
Um, well, I think that the Soccer Grannies are a wonderful living example that it's never too late to try something new. And it doesn't have to be soccer, it doesn't have to be even a physical exercise. Just getting out and, learning a new, uh, getting good at something new is a wonderful building up of your own spirit. And getting out and socializing is so important, building a community around a new activity. So I think they, set a great example for us. Just get out there and do something. Try. There's no excuse, really, right?
Have anybody said, you know what? I see what you're doing from the professional league that said, I see what you with grannies and I respect the mamas. They probably call them mamas in South Africa. I I see what you're doing. This is how I can help. So have they, gotten any professional help or just people just love it? And I assume some of them do have a little background because soccer is just a dominant sport in South Africa. So even in their youth, they probably touched the ball. It's just revisiting that. But professionally, have anybody came forward and said, you know, we want to help?
Um, well, they have uh, Becca's original team there. They have a coach who has donated his time for years and years now, just being with the team, being there for practice, taking track of who's there, following up if they're not to make sure they're okay. And so helping coach them is one thing I can think of. Um, as Becca has put on a couple of tournaments where she invited other grannies teams to come, and she's gotten some sponsors who help out with those events.
Thank you. This is such an inspirational story of an amazing group of soccer playing South African grannies in their journey. And so now they come over to the U.S. and can you shape the story or the narrative around their visit to the U.S.?
Yeah, so we had I called one of my first connection with Becca was to say, "Do you want to come bring your team to the United States?" And she said right away, "We will come, my sister. We will come." Becca accomplishes things by just putting her vision on the table and working towards it, no matter how difficult or impossible it might seem, because we had huge hurdles to overcome. Um, Raising money for the flights and getting visas and getting these women, getting them passports, all that. And it all was a series of miracles that kind of came together at the last minute right before the tournament. So, but we just couldn't give up the hope that they would get there, and we just worked at it as hard as we could. So they came through the Boston airport, 19 of them, and we hosted them near the tournament. They ran onto the field, the morning after they arrived. The organizers of the tournament actually reworked the over 60 groups to accommodate them, and they played their hearts out. They didn't win any games, but they ran off the field, hugging everyone, singing and dancing like they won the World Cup. And there was one particular touching moment that I remember well, where I got a glimpse into what this tournament and travel really meant to them. I was standing on the sidelines, and this one player ran off the field, and she dropped to her knees in front of Becca, and she was put her head in Becca's lap, and she was just sobbing. And I turned to the granny next to me, who spoke impeccable English, Beatrice, and I said, "Is Lizzie okay? Did she get hurt?" And Beatrice said, "Oh, Lizzie's okay. Those are tears of joy. She's so grateful to Becca for bringing soccer to her life and for the chance to travel to America." And then Beatrice said, "Lizzie had 5 adult children die of AIDS. 5 is a lot."
Oh my gosh. Oh.
I said to myself, thinking to myself, 1 is a lot. I just
Mhm.
can't imagine how you put one foot forward in front of another to, endure something like that, of losing child after child. So it was just like moments like that where you get some insights into what this all meant to them. But we
The
had,
re- oh, okay. You just took me. Oh my gosh. You just took the reality of it. The reality. You get into this fascination, and just studying the World Cup and just studying the different experiences of everybody. It's so surreal. It's so deeper than this commercialized um, lens that you're giving
mm,
about the World Cup. And this is what I wanted to portray to people, that there's real stories, there's real background to these players, to this sport. Like, this is the world's sport,
it is.
and to engage on a deeper level gives you such more of an appreciation for the sport and what it brings outside of the energy and the excitement. It is some deep stories, and it is one of those. And for Lizzie, is it Lizzie, right?
Hmm.
For Lizzie to just take that time and take that moment and understanding that they didn't win any matches, but they found joy.
Yeah.
She found joy, in her pain. Oh my God, she found just total joy in losing 5 children a to a disease. And I so remember, that AIDS epidemic in South Africa, because that's when the song came out, "We Are the World," and to have that same significance right now, right here, in a sport like this is a world sport, and we are the world, and these are some of the survivors of that epidemic, and you're bringing their stories to light, and really cherishing what Becca has done. That's a lot of words that I just did,
No.
but it's real. Like, it's it's wow. That took me there.
Yeah.
um, let's just deep dive a little bit. We've already deep dived into some of the granny stories, and I really appeal to everybody to get the book, and let's have some post discussions. Um, and well, you answered some of my questions. Now, is that one of the stories that stayed with you the longest, or is there another story that stayed with you the longest? I know that would sit with me for a while, but
Yeah.
is that one of the stories that stayed with you the longest?
Um, so of the grannies who were kind of profiled in the book, the story of Nora. I mean, I love them all, but the story of Nora I think of a lot. Um, she her father died very young, and she has no memories of him, and her mother raised five children by herself, and Nora wasn't able to go to school because they needed her at home, working care of the animals and the crops to help feed the family. And she recognized that hurt her prospects for the future, not being having the chance to be fully schooled. Her mother had suitors in the years after that who were supposed to
What are you
help
talking
care,
about?
who were
Oh, go ahead.
she
I'm
had her
sorry.
mother.
Turn it off. I'm so, Go ahead. I'm sorry. We were. Go ahead. You can finish
um
your story.
yeah, her
Go
mother
ahead.
tutors who were, supposed to help with the family, but there was abuse, and sometimes it was in front of the kids, which just is the most, yeah, makes me feel terrible. Nora herself really enjoyed music and dancing all through her childhood, so she had that joy with her. She ended up having seven children herself, and at times had trouble putting enough food on the table for them as well. But now Nora has reached a more senior age. She was one of the initial players of the Grannies team. She gets great joy from that. She gets great comfort from praying. And she has this beautiful way of just saying that, of accepting the hardships she's had in her life. And it just, yeah, you have to you read the words, her words, and it's just lovely. So she's also gets the government old age pension at this point, so she has more money than she had at any point in her life, and she's able to help care for her family. So in many ways she's now reached in her senior years, a place of, more comfort than she ever had before. So I just think it's a
Oh,
story
that's
that stays with me.
wow. Wow. Again, you guys, this book is filled. Oh, show the. I don't have my book with me, you guys. I'm actually
Yeah.
at another office, but please show us the cover of the book.
Yeah, you see the women and the ball there. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And they are taking donations, and we're going to put the donation links out there. And this would be just a great holiday if you have an opportunity to donate. And is the donation link on your site as well?
Yes, yes. There's a GoFundMe. It's called 4-1 4-1 for South Africa Soccer Grannies. And I'm also donating all book proceeds to the Becca Nitsanwisi Foundation. So when people buy the book, or in any of the formats, it came out in audiobook this year too. I narrated that. So,
Oh yes, it did come out in audiobook. I know when I clicked the link, it wasn't active, but it is active now.
yes,
So
yes.
yeah, so it is, and you guys, you can go to our audio bookstore, but you probably will want a copy of the book. But it's still good and amazing in audiobook form. But I guess just to have those stories and just read those stories and share those stories in your different groups and your organizational reading and your reading groups. I have talked to a couple of senior book clubs, and I said, you guys, this this event is worldwide, and you have to capture the moment. And what better way to capture the moment than this book? Capture the moment, and as a group, if you decide that you want to donate to a cause, this is the cause. This is probably one of the only cause in my whole series that I will lift up in terms of the donation, just reading the stories. This is one of those calls. If we think of the World Cup, and when you think of these amazing high energy tournaments, and know what to donate, where should they donate, I would say the Soccer Grannies of South Africa. Just understanding what they've been through, their resilience, how they survive our
Mhm.
modern day injustice, modern day oppression. Um, and this is just in my time, Gene, of what I've seen, especially college. In college, we were all rallying around our apartheid and just the atrocities and just everything that negativity that was about South Africa. And I
Mhm.
think this is a way the world can continue to get back. And I know in other nations that there are some, but this is in writing that
Yeah.
I found. And I don't know, have you come across any other books that that resonate the stories of families or individuals in soccer, the way that Soccer Grannies? Have you come upon any of those type of stories? I think this is for me. This is the only one that I've come upon.
Yeah, there's a
Uh,
wonderful one about the Afghani women's team, and I'm
oh,
forgetting the
I did see that.
I'm
Okay,
forgetting the name of it, but that one
I
just
know which one you're talking about.
yeah, that
Yes,
touched me. Yeah.
yes. Again, and I know you talked about this a little bit, but I want to focus in on how did this project change you personally, either as a writer, a woman, or an athlete?
Well, as I kind of said in my opening introduction, I was an engineer and hadn't done any writing other than emails and technical reports before I decided I was going to write a book. And a few creative writing classes, and I took, and a few more classes about how to publish a book. And I joined a wonderful 6-woman writing group, and we've been meeting for 8 years now. And 3 of us published our first books in the same year. So that, which is pretty amazing. And then we went on to learn about book promotion together too. So I am, very grateful. This amazing experience of meeting the Soccer Grannies brought out this new path for me of being a published author and learning about that part of the world too, and sharing their story. Um,
And I so thank you for teaching us about that part of the world. I think through your book, I know through your book, I have learned a lot about that part of the world. A place that I haven't visited, and I know you visited, but it's a place I want to visit.
yes,
Um, what was your, this is one of my last, I'm drilling down, I've been drilling you, but I'm drilling down to one of my last questions.
sure.
What was your experience when you visited South Africa? You know, I think you touched on it, but
Yeah, I visited in 2011. Becca invited us right after we they had come to the United States, and traveling with in this kind of way where you're going to meet a group and through sport or any connection on that personal basis, it's nothing that you would find in a guidebook. It's a very unique way to connect with the people, I think. I mean, Becca took us out to a village where she does community work and has started a women's team. Um, and they had no electricity, no running water. It was very eye opening for me. I ate my first caterpillar and decided that wasn't enough.
wait. You didn't just tell me you just ate a caterpillar. You did
I,
not just say that.
I did eat one caterpillar. Yes,
Oh,
Becca teased
wow.
me because they're it's a wonderful nutritious food and they love it. And she always teases me. She's going to give me a big bowl full next time I come.
Okay. Okay, Gene. You started something. Okay. Okay. No, was it cooked or like it was?
Yes, yes, yeah. It was cooked.
Nah.
It comes in like a crunchy snack that they've cooked in a bag. Becca makes pans full. She's sautéing them, and
Oh man. Okay. I guess that's good. The American in me is coming out.
yeah. Well,
It's,
we,
it's
yeah.
okay. You know, it takes me back. You know, I remember when I was studying a student at I was living in a home in Kingston, Jamaica, and I was a student at the College of Science and Technology in Pepin in Kingston, Jamaica, and they put on my plate the whole fish,
Mm,
like the eyes and everything cooked. And I was young then, but Gene, to see the eyes looking back at me just really messed me out. And I told my host mother that I cannot eat a fish. I couldn't do it. I said, you're going to have to chop some, you're going to have to square it up for me. And so she politely, I just couldn't do it. You
yeah.
know, but it tastes so good. The other parts that I had, but the part that she gave me, I just wasn't ready for it. And
Yeah. Yeah.
towards
Yeah.
the end, I thought I could do it, but it didn't work for me. But they said, like you said, they said eyes was the most nutritious part. I'm like, I can't, I can't do it.
Yeah.
But so thank you for, oops, my sound went mute. Thank you for sharing that with me. What other, I know I'm drilling down to my last question. Um, now, how did the grannies respond to this book?
Um, so
Can you turn the light on?
me, and all the questions went to Becca. Everyone was fascinated to meet her and hear about, all that she has accomplished. And she took back with her in her luggage copies of the book for the grannies who were profiled in the book. And I hope I did them justice to their stories and that their families are proud of them. The book was translated to Japanese, and
Oh wow! It was
I
translated to Jeff.
yeah, when
Okay.
I went over for the Grannies World Cup just this past year, I brought a copy of the Japanese book to Becca, and she was really excited. I think she likes to think about people in Japan are reading her story. So,
That's amazing. I just want to applaud you for coming on Doc Live. I know you could have been anywhere at this particular time, but the fact that you took time out for one of my creative series that I said I had to do, and when you responded, I was just so excited that somebody understood what I was trying to do, and took it very serious. I think this is a very serious moment for me, especially even more so with the stories that you provided and even the stories that I've already read. So I truly thank you for sharing this inspirational story of an amazing group of soccer playing South African grannies and their journeys to the U.S. and their continual journey. I appreciate you. I appreciate you sharing that backstories. These women have played together despite their resistance, and this is truly amazing.
yeah,
Um,
I
so again,
appreciate the invitation for me to share their story. I'm always happy to.
So I want to say for those that are on Facebook and those that are on YouTube, I put the link out there. I'll put the link on a Facebook group as well. But please, please, please get this book, read the stories, and tell me what story resonated with you. Share these stories. We're going to continue to share about as we journey through this series. We have probably 6 more months that we'll be doing these series. So, um, to the people on Facebook, thank you for tuning in. To the people on YouTube, thank you for tuning in. And Jean, if you want to learn more about Jean, please visit her website at jeanduffy.com. That's jeanduffy.com. And you're on Instagram as well, right?
Yes, Soccer Granny's book.
Okay, Soccer Grannies book is on Instagram and you're on Facebook. I should have tagged your Facebook group
Yeah.
because I should have tagged there, but when I reshare the video, I'll go ahead and re-tag. I wonder if any of the grannies had a chance to tune in. I would love to talk to Becca. So I don't know.
Yes, I bet she'd love to talk to you.
So should we try to arrange that sometime in the future? I don't know what her availability would be.
Yeah, yeah. I think she would love that, and maybe if you actually have the group of people who've read the book, that might be fun. For them
I
to
think let's
talk.
do it that way. Let's do it that way. I'll continue to push the book and get some of the groups, and we'll do another conversation with Becca. How about that?
Sounds
And
good.
try to check in on your availability. Well, again, thank you for checking with us this afternoon. We're right at the top of the hour, so I truly, truly appreciate you for coming on. Thank you. And I am going to close out, at least try to close out this live. So I'm going to close out this live. Thank you so much, Jean.
Thank you, Danya.